Quickly, Larry's been waiting on the line. Jim, I'm going to have to let Larry go first. On the issue of Congresswoman Claudia Tenney, if you've not heard yet, she did an interview with USA Today and really went in depth on Anthony Brindisi and claiming that his dad with ties to the mob and the whole. I mean, she went all in on this thing. So, what do you think? 315-736-0186. Larry, you're on the radio.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Bill?
Good.
Good. Listen, first of all, I'd like to say Frank Pellicelli did a great job explaining it in his own way. Nice job. But should Claudia be reminded that Joe Kennedy was a bootlegger and his son became president of the United States?
It's a very good point.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, where are we going with this? We're going to start beating up Utica again. It's got to stop.
I almost feel like if you're on the outside, and I wonder, what do people in Binghamton think? Because that makes a big part of this district.
Right.
Are you saying, oh, there they go again, only in Utica?
Yeah,
only in
it
Utica.
happens. When I was involved politically many moons ago, I used to call the Board of Election out in Albany. They go, "What's crazy today out there?"
Yeah, I know.
No, that's the true words. It's but Claudia needs to do her homework before she starts slamming people, and it just tells me politically that she's scared. In essence, to losing. It's just
when you look at this from a political standpoint, John Zogby said it. It's one of two things or two things together.
Oh, it could be, yeah.
She can't help herself, which I believe is part of it. I do believe it's part of it.
I agree with you, yeah.
And secondly, you've done a poll, and you found out you're behind, and you're going for broke.
Yeah, I got you. And the other thing is, too, she's worrying about people being in the mob. I've never seen anybody, but how come she's running from somebody threatening her? Who is these people? I mean, do that homework.
Yeah.
There's just too much craziness. Listen, Bill, thanks for having me on.
All right, Larry, thanks. I appreciate it.
Right.
All right, you want to pipe in here, 315-736-0186. Jim Zecca. And, Jim, I got to start with this.
Good morning.
What are you? I mean, you've been in politics a long time.
Bill, this whole thing.
And you're Italian, by the way.
He looks so excited
Italian,
to answer, doesn't he? The first thing Jim said was,
What do you? I mean, and I know you support Congresswoman Tenney.
I do.
Do you support what she's saying here?
That's her business, and that's her. For whatever reason, she decided to present this and talk.
She was saying that about your father.
Decision.
Would you be offended by that?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
But we all know this happens in all these elections. This is a federal election.
Yeah.
This is nothing compared. And we all know what's going to come forward on this. This is way too early, by the way. I want to talk about the local election. We have an election coming up this year
this November. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to let you off that easy. I can't let you off that easy. I can't let you off that easy, but I appreciate your efforts. Listen. This doesn't happen in every election. And yes, it does get dirty.
Bill,
well,
please, come on. In federal elections,
it doesn't.
President, congressional,
it doesn't.
Do you follow some of the
Bill,
other
in Jim's defense, she did not body slam a reporter.
It doesn't.
that's true.
Yeah.
Good point. It doesn't. Now, you might get PACs that will come in and send out a dirty ad, and a lot of times you'll do an ad like this is so dirty. This move was so dirty by Congresswoman Tenney.
Right.
That this would be the type of ad that a campaign might do back in the dark, you're at nighttime, you're coming up. You wouldn't want to put your name on it. You'd probably leak it out to the web, and then you'd deny and say, I had never had it. Remember the call? Remember the 900 call?
Right.
On Mike Arcuri.
Right.
And that probably cost Ray Meyer the election. If you remember,
again,
people don't seem to handle
all
these
of that was
types of
behind
things
the
well.
scenes and sneaky. At least she's coming out and saying the way it is, and she's saying it, not somebody else and somebody behind the scenes. So you got to give her credit there. She is not hiding behind the curtains
that
and
is
blaming
true.
somebody else and having somebody else do. You got to say that Tenney is like that. She will say it like it is.
Yeah.
And
well, that's true.
Some people are not going to like it.
It's like
some
the
people
guy
are.
standing there and he's like, no, I didn't pee in your pool, but now I'm going to. Look at me. I'm now peeing in your pool.
Well, I mean,
so she's right out in the open, so that makes it okay?
Yeah. Well, politics.
Because I think
tough.
the guy peeing in this pool, still it's bad. You still cannot pee in my pool, even though I know you're
I've
doing
been on
it.
the other end. I've been personally attacked. And, I've come to expect this now. It's unfortunate.
Should we judge Anthony Brindisi on anything his father did or didn't do?
No, but that's up to the public to make the decision on. Really, not us. You and I can say what we want.
Let me ask you this:
you're hearing the public speak, and it's on both sides. So
let me ask you this:
anything's open.
Because I've gotten a few of those anonymous flyers that I always kind of wondered, did Jim Zecca send me this?
I don't do anonymous flyers.
Wouldn't it have been better to do this in an anonymous flyer? You could see that happening.
Yeah. Is anything? I haven't really followed it too much because I've been concentrating on our own campaign. But is anything that she's saying untrue? I mean, is it a lie? Is it what is she saying?
It's all innuendo,
Yeah,
and I enjoy that question. By the way, that's a loaded question.
Right.
I noticed that you asked there, but it's all innuendo. It's just dirty pool. Do you think it's going to help her? Would you if you were her campaign advisor, would you say, let's get in this. It's 16 months out. I want you to be the one to attack it.
This is ridiculous. This is way too early. But even Brindisi announcing he's running this early was ridiculous. And it's taken away from the local elections, too, which are important right now.
Okay.
We have all important local elections and issues. And one of the ones I want to talk about is Chief Brooks. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
Tonight, you guys at 7 o'clock are going to be presenting letters of support to Chief Brooks from the public, right?
Right. Sue, unfortunately, poor Sue, I feel so bad for her. With all the flooding we've had, her apartment has been flooded twice. The second time, devastated. A lot of damage done. So she's been out
Claudia
of it.
Couldn't Claudia have gotten Sue Arcuri to do this dirty work? Because she's... If you remember, she was doing all that. Remember,
Jim? I'm sorry I asked you to come on today.
That look, Jim, was worth
Don't you remember
words.
that Sue was?
I should have came in yesterday.
Sue was in. I told you should have gone in here yesterday. Sue is on the line right now. Sue, you remember you used to go after Mike Arcuri.
Oh, yeah. Good morning, Sue.
Claudia could have called.
I'm listening.
Claudia could have called you up and said, "Hey, go after Anthony Brindisi on this stuff here."
Hey, look. First of all, I would have addressed meetings tonight, the Common Council meeting, where Jim and I and some of the committee and other supporters of Russ Brooks will be there to present the Common Council with hundreds of support letters that were gathered at the rally for him.
Okay.
We would love everybody that supports Russ Brooks to come out. These are signatures of people within the community that did not like what happened to Chief Brooks.
Okay.
And we're ready to sign these letters. They're also going to be copies made and sent over to Russ Brooks so that he can present them to his attorney in case they need him down the road.
Okay.
Okay? So that's number one. Number two, on Claudia Tenney, she did not put me up to it. Claudia and I, you know that I was a fierce opponent of Claudia Tenney. Way back when I was writing my blog, as was like Arcuri and other politicians.
Yeah.
At this point, Claudia is doing a very good job. I really object to the connotation that she's like anti-Italian. I think it comes down to a moral issue, and I think Claudia is absolutely right. All this background comes into it. My father was the New York State Police criminal investigator for organized crime for years. And for the best of my recollection, I believe, and it's in my opinion, that Louis Brindisi was the subject of many criminal investigations regarding
all right, without
was
getting,
Anthony?
Without
was it
getting
Sue?
Into
Was
that,
Anthony?
Right. Is this any reflection on Anthony Brindisi though?
Yes, because it's a matter of morals.
Okay. All right.
Can I ask you something though, Sue? Can I ask you a quick question?
Jim, you just don't have a chance today. This is just terrible.
That's each
awful.
voter, I think what Sue's saying, to her it matters. Each voter decides, does it matter? Is it relevant? Who cares? Why does this just come up now? She's, for a couple of years, served side by side with him in the assembly.
Mm-hmm.
A couple press conferences.
Shouldn't he be judged on his record in the
partnering
assembly?
on issues?
Right.
Why, if this is such a moral crisis or a moral decision that voters need to be aware of and decide on, why do we not hear about it until he's her opponent?
Well, they didn't run against each other before this.
But she stands up to corruption.
So clearly the venom comes out when Claudia Tenney gets backed into a corner.
The
she goes
venom
dirty.
comes out on both sides, Bill. Look at what they've done to the president and his family. They're attacking his family.
But we're only
the
talking,
Democrats aren't saying anything about that.
Jim, please, let's not open the door on Trump politics here. We're talking
I
about
don't have the strength, personally.
the 22nd congressional district only, please.
All right. Well, it's
Sue,
national.
I don't want to take you, Sue, as someone who's speaking for all, but speaking for yourself. You're saying you're okay with Claudia Tenney going down this road.
Absolutely.
She's an East Utica Italian, so she grew up in that
When you're
neighborhood.
running for office, everything. The book is open.
Okay, all right. I appreciate that. I got to get to Jim, and I appreciate your call there. Thank you.
And I've got one more thing to say.
Okay.
With regard to that, what bothers me most is that we have Italian Catholics calling into your show that support Anthony Brindisi, who has voted for and sponsored bills to extend abortion. Talking Catholic, that bothers me more than them talking about Anthony Brindisi's father. Where is their moral?
I don't know what in the state.
All that come out in the campaign.
But what in the state has?
Issues,
I don't remember any big abortion bill in the New York State Assembly.
Local races.
You think about that. Now, to say that Anthony's pro-choice, I guess you'll have to ask him that question. But I don't know of any big bills that are sponsoring abortion in the New York State Legislature. But thank you for that, Sue. Back to Jim. Good morning.
Okay.
Jim's all
Jim, thanks for coming in. We'll talk to you next time.
Term limits. You're not talking about that. That was a headline in today's paper. The petition was submitted.
We do not.
Apparently, we don't know the number, though.
We knew the petition was submitted last week. We've reached out to them, and no one will tell us anything yet. But we are hearing. Hearing word that maybe there's not enough.
That's what we're thinking. We have our group. Our group that's been very active is going down to City Hall today to request from the city clerk a copy of the petitions that have been filed. If they're denied, they will be filing a FOIL request for those documents.
Right. So, for the record, I'm getting someone in here telling me Anthony has unequivocally not sponsored any abortion bills in the New York State Legislature, period. But thank you for that, Sue.
I was told by a city official who would not go on the record, and then I tried to follow up with the clerk's office, and she did not want to speak publicly about it.
How about Lou Parada, who's actually said he's carrying the petition?
You know what?
That was in the paper.
I'll reach out to Lou this morning. We tried on Thursday because I was told they were submitted Wednesday or Thursday last week.
I'm hearing
the number was 880, and only 700 were accepted. That's what I was told off the record.
And 880 was a requirement?
No, 880 were submitted.
Well, what's the requirement? Is it
approximately
1,000?
200 were disqualified. I do not know that.
I'm told that it did not. That because of that it doesn't pass. So I think it failed because
what
I was
told.
But
you do realize that the council could override that and put this issue on the ballot. So I'd like to know what the current council members are going to do about this. Are they going to present this as an issue, which I think it's a non-issue in the city of Utica? The people of the city of Utica have voted on term limits.
Okay.
And 75+% said this is the term limit policy that they want. And it works. Yeah. And I'm a good example of it. I was term limited out, fair and square. I do have the opportunity to run for office again, and I'm doing that. So anyone can do that. And it works. Why are you making this such a big issue in the city of Utica when we have major issues we're still dealing with?
Got it.
I
don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to pass. I think if it went before the voters, it would be a tough. Boy, it'd be tough to get that to pass.
I think so as well.
But
I don't shouldn't even go before the voters. It's a waste of time.
I don't think it will. But we'll see. We're waiting to see the results. It's very hush-hush right now. I find it very, very interesting. Quickly, how are you running? You're running against the hospital downtown?
Yes.
Is that a major part of your campaign?
I've been following this whole issue right from day one with an open mind. I've been to all of the meetings. As you know, I've been involved with the block associations. The block association have sponsored a number of meetings at West Utica, South Utica, went to the very first one.
Yeah.
They're not giving us the answers that we need, and especially the council members, because there's going to be some decisions along the way that city money is going to be allocated for this project, for parking, for demolition.
Right.
Where is this money coming from?
Okay.
And now we're hearing that the police station may be on the demolition block. How are we going to replace that? Where is this money coming from locally? Is the hospital going to pay for it? Are the citizens of Utica going to have to bond and pay for this? These are all questions.
If it was all paid for, would you then be okay with it downtown? If it was all paid for, it didn't come out of local taxpayer dollars.
I'd have to consider that. But again, we're taking a big swath of land that has a lot of potential now with all the development that's finally happening in the city off the tax rolls.
Okay.
When we have other areas, and as a representative of West Utica, we had the old psychiatric center. They keep saying it's not an appropriate location. Well, it's the biggest chunk of empty land, open land, besides the buildings that are there that were promised to be taken down by previous governors when I was on the council years ago. That still hasn't been done. The Brigham building was one of them. Jeff remembers.
Sure.
That should have been taken care of. That land is all off the tax rolls already. and it's right in the center of the city.
Yeah.
They keep coming up with all sorts of excuses of why that's not a good location. Now, another thing I heard, again, this is rumor, but it makes perfect sense. The Masonic Home, I heard, now, well, maybe you guys could find this out, they presented an offer to the hospital board that they would give some of their land to build a hospital on the Masonic Home property. I thought that was an excellent idea, and it was rejected without even being considered. And nobody's talked about that.
Part of the way, though, that you mean way over on.
Yeah, but it's off of 5S. It's really in a good location for vehicles to get off. On the
away
highway.
From be certainly away from people who are trying to make an easy commute from downtown. But
as an advocate of West Utica, do you not think that a downtown Utica hospital would perpetuate growth in West Utica?
I don't see where hospitals are perpetuating growth, and again, taking that big of an area off the.
If
tax
somebody
rolls
didn't,
when
if
we
somebody
have so
had
much
an
potential.
opportunity to invest in West Utica, wouldn't they do that if there were not those vacant buildings there?
But that's the problem. Why haven't we been putting an effort into that area? Those buildings are the same type of buildings. I posted on their website some photographs. I was in the village of Hamilton, downtown Hamilton. The same type of structure, same time period. They're all full of stores now. They got cooperation with Colgate University to come in and participate in that rejuvenation of the downtown Hamilton. So you take a look at those pictures on the website.
Jim, running, it is not 16 months away. It is just 4 months away, by the way, Election Day. Are you running in a primary? Do you have a primary coming up?
No primary. No? Republican, Conservative, and Reform Party endorsements. And I want to thank
You're now
Chairman,
a Republican. Have you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I want to thank Chairman Habaika, who put together a very good team. There's going to be a competition in every single race in Utica. Three at-large Republicans and every single district, 1 through 6. So that's great.
All right, and Jim, thank you.
All right,
and
thank you.
Just for the record, you're A-OK with Claudia questioning Anthony Brindisi on his Italian background.
I don't agree with the Italian
and his father's background.
It's a background, but not that Italian thing. I think is old.
And his father does play a role in how Anthony will legislate.
Well, people have talked about that, how you're raised and how you're.
Has he in the past?
What's that?
Has he, as an assemblyman, has he been influenced by his father in any way?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask him. You're going to have to ask Mr. Brindisi that question. I can't tell you that.
I don't think we really have to ask.
But in all honesty, Mr. Brindisi was at his announcement. And it is his father, and he should be there.
It's his father.
Right, of course.
And by the way, it's not like the guy's sitting in federal prison somewhere.
No,
he runs one of the most successful law firms you'll find in New York State, upstate New York at the very least.
You're right.
And he is and does much for this community. We're talking about the guy like he's in jail.
Well, I'm not talking like that.
That's well, you kind of were. I mean, in that. I mean, come on.
Let the people decide on that. But it's way, way too early for all this craziness already. Yeah. It is really just astonishing. That
buckle up.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm saying. Buckle up.
I got a break. Thank you, Jim Zecca.
Thank
you.
We
appreciate it. We'll take a break and come back at WIBX.